So my name is Marlowe Boyd, and I'm here today to share my story about how I came to Pregnancy Help Clinic and how they helped me transition and truly change my life. Originally, everything was well in life. I was working a full-time job. I was making a substantial amount of money. I was able to provide for my family. I had my sense of sanity. Everything was in order. All the pieces were put together. At the time, I was in a on and off again domestic relationship, and my partner was very abusive. After stalking and harassing me for quite some time, I ended up losing my job as a result of that. And I started to realize that wasn't the type of life that I wanted. And when I tried to pull away from him, he attempted to take my life. In that moment, although everything had already felt like it was falling apart, things just got worse. After he was locked away, he made threats and tried to send other people to where I was living to finish off what he tried to do himself. So I had no choice but to flee to a completely different city, different county, and I found myself sitting in a room in an unfamiliar place around all of these strangers in a domestic violence shelter. And when I looked in the mirror, I just didn't recognize myself anymore. I didn't recognize my feelings, my thoughts. I didn't recognize the fact that I really just didn't feel a need to continue to live. Yes, I had my daughter. She was 9 at the time. And although she was going through everything with me, my vision was so cloudy. Felt like I was almost in a tunnel. And I scrambled around for a few months and tried to navigate a welfare system that I did not have any experience with. My daughter's entire life and my life, I never needed to utilize the welfare system for anything. So in a matter of 5 months to lose my prominent paying job and sanity, and then wind up in a shelter away from all my family and friends, and basically have my pride knocked down, it was hard. And I still managed to put on my big girl pants and get things done so that I could secure a roof over me and my daughter's head. Eventually, I obtained a housing voucher and we found an apartment in Livingston County. And things were starting to get a little bit better. I started to have a little bit more hope. And I was in therapy. I was completing a lot of different mental health activities as well as my daughter. Then I ran across an old friend and we met up, we spent time together, and about 6 weeks later, I found out that I was pregnant. In that moment, I felt like my heart jumped out of my chest because here I was barely making ends meet, on welfare, trying to heal from PTSD, depression, anxiety, all the trauma that I was facing. And my daughter also, trying to be a mother to her in the midst of me trying to pick up my own pieces. I just couldn't imagine bringing another child into the mix with no job and no family around, and really just fighting day to day not to have an emotional breakdown or have a random panic attack out of the blue. All these things I was feeling and going through were new to me. They were so unfamiliar. So to know that I would be bringing another child in this world, and me and the father weren't together and we weren't planning on being together, I just couldn't imagine or see how I would be able to navigate that and get through that. And so at the time, I was still working with La Casa, the domestic violence shelter that I was attending. And I was chatting with my therapist that was helping me with cognitive processing therapy. And I mentioned to her about the pregnancy, and I just broke down. I told her that at that moment, I really just felt like I wanted to drive myself off of a cliff, honestly. Couldn't see any light. I just felt like I was surrounded by so many storm clouds, so much darkness. And she said, well, I've never been to this place or know anyone personally who went here, but we do recommend the Pregnancy Help Clinic. And she gave me a card, she gave me their information. And at first I was like, oh, I'm not going to keep this baby. I'm not going to go there. So I went to an urgent care and I got a pregnancy test there. And something in my spirit told me after the pregnancy test, I just didn't want to believe I was pregnant. So I was like, well, let me go to this pregnancy help clinic and have them do an ultrasound. That'll definitely confirm for sure if I'm pregnant. And so I went, and my very first appointment with them, Michelle, who is the clinical services coordinator at Pregnancy Help Clinic, she was there. She came to my first appointment. There were 2 other leaders in the group, and it had to be God because I was the only one there that evening. A couple of the other girls couldn't make it that night. And so I really was able to get some one-on-one conversations going, and I just broke down. I broke down, and they just held my hand. They let me know it was going to be okay. That, reminded me how much God loved me and how much He would never leave me or forsake me. And that even though everything seemed so dark, that I would come out on the other end okay. Michelle has always been so loving and caring and supportive to me and my children. And it was great. And she got me in, she got me scheduled, she put me with a coordinator. Her name was Trisha. And we just hit it off right away. We connected really well. We were laughing and we were having such a great time at the first meeting. And as time continued to progress and I continued to come to the meetings with her, she was teaching me so many things, how to cope with everything I had going on, how to cope with the new baby with a child that was 10 years older than him, and how to improve my parenting skills for my daughter and my son. So many different things. The mentorship program helped me get all of my ducks in a row. And my son was born, and I continued to come in. The Help Clinic continued to be there for us, continued to help me with diapers or wipes or just to have a shoulder to cry on, to help me with clothes. Look at this boy. He's 6 months. He's 18 pounds. He just blew through those clothes. Pregnancy Help Clinic really embraced me from the beginning of my journey to now. And they are truly my second family away from home. And I just really feel like, I'm getting goosebumps right now, but I just really feel like if it was not for them, I wouldn't have made it. I would have ultimately decided to abort my child. As much against it as I was, it just seemed so impossible. So I don't believe I would be sitting here right now with my son, so happy. He's brought so much joy into our lives without Pregnancy Help Clinic. That's my story, and I hope that I was able to inspire and encourage someone who is also going through what I went through or worse, that it's okay, and that Pregnancy Help Clinic will definitely help you and guide you. I'd say, what if it was your daughter? What if it was someone that you loved, a niece, someone that you saw that was really struggling? I know you would help them. I know you would lend them a hand. And we are your daughters. We are your nieces. We are one big family here, and without your continued donations and support, Pregnancy Health Clinic wouldn't be able to do the things that they are doing to transform lives. So I'd say just keep giving.